What is good, guys? What is good? Hey, we have to talk about George Pickens in the Dallas Cowboys. We have to talk about him. And now, just to start off this video, when he was traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Dallas Cowboys, if you know football well enough, you would have also thought how talented he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that him going to a Dallas Cowboys team with Dak Prescott. And I don't care what you think of Dak Prescott, as an outside fan, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, it doesn't matter. He is their franchise cornerstone. There is a reason Jerry Jones has invested so much money. Doesn't matter where you rank him, where you put him, he is their franchise QB. And a wide receiver like George Pickens, going from a place that struggles with quarterbacks, like their quarterbacks have just not been good, going to a place like Dallas, where you're alongside not just Dak Prescott, but a pretty solid offensive line, right? Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb, another top wide receiver who people think is a top wide receiver. Now, at the time, you're looking at George Pickens, right? And I mean, coming off of his last year in Pittsburgh, what was he? He went 987, right? 987, 4 touchdowns. And he still damn near went for 1,000. Yo, you're not subscribed? Come on, man. Why you not subscribed? Be sure to drop a like on this video as well while you're at it. And be sure to follow me on Instagram. Drop any topic of discussion, any question in there. We can make a video on it. Even if you have a player, we can do some film review on them as well. All right, now let's get back to the video. Like, you literally look at it. 2022, 800 yards. Rookie year. 2023, 1190. 2024, 987. Then he goes to Dallas this year, and their offense literally lit it up with Brian Schottenheimer. And a lot of people were doubting Schottenheimer, but it's very clear that Schottenheimer and Dak Prescott have a good thing going, and the rest of their offense just flowed. Yeah, like that offense, I mean, let me look at the numbers. I was just looking at a second ago. Dallas in total yards per game for their offense, they had 391, which is second behind the Los Angeles Rams. Yes, yeah, right behind the Los Angeles Rams. As in terms of NFL team passing yards per game, Dallas was second below the Los Angeles Rams with 266. This offense was super explosive. They really were. Let's look at scoring offense. Points per game. Dallas, 6th with 27.7. Still pretty good in some elite company right there. Like I see in these teams, I see a lot of good teams that are right above Dallas. And partly due to that is you having George Pickens alongside CeeDee Lamb. The problem with having two guys like that in your lineup in formations is most NFL teams don't have two good corners, let alone one. So if you have two guys like George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, it's extremely hard for NFL defenses to cover. Hey, bud. Hey. My dog is always doing something during my videos. But it's hard. I mean, you look at teams like Cincinnati. You look at teams like Philadelphia. Dude, I could go through so many teams. I always got to talk about my team. But I could go through a couple teams that just have loaded talent at the wide receiver position. The Detroit Lions, you look at them, Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, like it's just so hard to stop. So if you have a guy like CeeDee Lamb and you have a guy like George Pickens, like I said, who was extremely talented, you have to keep that guy in the building. Like how good the Dallas Cowboys offense was this last year with how bad their defense was, you have to keep that dude in the building. And I know, just with the way George Pickens was this year, I mean, 1,400 receiving yards, you're probably going to have to pay him a lot of money. You probably will have to pay him a lot of money. Now, it kind of puts you in a weird spot, right? Because you're paying your quarterback a lot of money. You're paying your star wide receiver a lot of money. Your best wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Some people think George Pickens is better than CeeDee Lamb. I don't know about that, but I don't really think it's that crazy to say because he hasn't had a good quarterback like CeeDee Lamb. But we're talking about two number ones. So you're going to get yourself into a situation like the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals are top heavy, right? On the offensive side, you got Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins, you got Joe Burrow. You're paying all those guys when you have so much cap space wrapped up in like 3 to 4 positions on one side of the ball. It's going to create problems. Now, we look at the back of this past year in the Dallas Cowboys defense, they weren't good. Like, they really weren't good. Now, they had moments where they were kind of showing signs, but they just weren't good. But the one thing you got to look at is that they'll possibly be getting a new defensive coordinator. And they do have, like, the Dallas Cowboys have weapons to work with on the defensive side. They really do. Like, they have good players on the defensive side. And my thing is you bring in, a new DC. You have those 2 first-round picks with the trade for Micah Parsons. You have tools to work with this team. You really do. And I mean, let's just look at the roster. So, like, look at Dallas Cowboys roster. Just the lineup. Like, Azaraku, Williams, Clark. They got Clowney. I don't know if Clowney's coming back. I'm gonna need to look at his contract. But Overshown, Hooker. I think Hooker's pretty solid. Deron Bland. I know some Dallas Cowboys fans are getting upset with him, but there's pieces on this defense, man. And I mean, like, you're not gonna have stars at every single level of your team. Like, you could have a star-studded offense. You could have a star-studded defense. You're not gonna have star players at every position. You're just not, unless your last 3 to 4 drafts were absolutely off the charts. And for all we know, Dallas Cowboys in this upcoming draft, for all we know, it could be insane. But with having 2 first-rounders to work off of, I'm excited about their defense. Their defense has potential. Like I said, they got players on the defensive side. So this goes back to George Pickens. It's like, do you pay him that much money? Should you pay a wide receiver that much money, having so much money wrapped up in 2 wide receivers and a quarterback? Yeah, I think you do. I think you do, especially with your head coach being the offensive mind, along with your quarterback clearly getting along. And then you have your 2 wide receivers. And, I don't know what Dallas is working with cap-wise this year. Like, let's look at their cap real quick. Now, right now I'm looking, it looks like Dallas Cowboys have around 30 to 40 million of cap space to work with. Now, this is before, restructures, just a bunch of different money moving around. They could create more space. So going along with the draft picks, they got cap space. This defense could be literally built and get much better this upcoming season faster than some would anticipate. So that goes back to George Pickens. You have to re-sign George Pickens. I cannot stress how much stress you put on opposing defenses with 2 number 1s. You just have to do it. Like, I think they would be taking a step back if they didn't re-sign George Pickens. 2 number 1s on your team. 2 number 1s. And I'm going to speak to Jerry Jones right here because I know how Jerry Jones likes to let things just play out, drag out, not get it done, right? For whatever reason, because Jerry likes to work out these deals. He doesn't like the agents around. Get a deal done with George Pickens quick. The longer you let it drag out, the more money you have to give him. If it leaks into free agency, so be it, but that's going to be even tougher. Get this brother signed, man. George Pickens is so damn good, man. Ever since I started watching him in Pittsburgh, my homie would talk about him in Georgia. I watched him at Georgia a bit, but I didn't watch him as much as my homie. As soon as he get into the NFL, I was like, oh, it's pretty clear that this dude is a number 1 wide receiver with the right type of quarterback and system. He's a number 1. With Dallas, going out there and having 1,400 receiving yards, he is a number 1. Don't fuck this up, Dallas. And now I know. Some people are gonna say, well, did you watch him in the game versus the Detroit Lions? I'm like, yes, I did watch him in the game versus the Detroit Lions. Well, if you watched it, you would know that he checked out. I'm like, dude, I understand he didn't have the best game. I understand that. It was 1 game from George Pickens this whole year. I don't know, maybe somebody will muster it up and be like, no, it was actually more than. No, I just saw 1 game where he checked out, and it was versus Detroit. And yes, it wasn't the best. Like, George does need to work on that. But the rest of the games he played this season, like, didn't he play the full season? I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure George Pickens played the full season, if I remember right. And he was reliable in just about every single other game. Into that 1 game that you could point out with the Detroit Lions, I would tell you, I'll be like, okay, well, what about games when CeeDee Lamb dropped the ball? CeeDee Lamb this last year had a higher drop percentage than George Pickens. George Pickens has a 5.1% drop. CeeDee Lamb has 9.1. CeeDee Lamb had games where he would drop the ball in some of the most crucial moments, man. So, like, don't sit here and tell me, like, oh, well, this 1 game. I'm like, dude, CeeDee Lamb had a couple games where he was dropping balls that he should have caught. And we've seen that from CeeDee Lamb before. And some people, they get in the conversation and they talk about CeeDee Lamb. They be like, well, he's not a number 1 because of in these certain situations. I don't buy that shit. But to sit here and say George in this one game should not be paid, and he's this, he's that off that one game, I'm like, well, their other star wide receiver had some pretty big drops and some pretty big moments, so let's not point at that. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier in this video, don't fuck this up, Dallas. Just get this guy signed. You got a lot to look forward to in the draft. You got good draft capital. And with cap space, this defense could be much better than people think. I'm telling you that right now.